I'm glad you're here. So today we are going to be finishing up a project and we are going to be playing around with another messy thing. So today to get started, I want you to go and get your piece or pieces, if you made more than one, I only did one, piece of stained paper. So here's mine. I've got some holes and rips, but that's okay because we're going to be covering it all with contact paper and it's going to be nice and sturdy when we're done. So each one of these papers will make 2 bookmarks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, well, let me tell you what you need first. You're going to need your bag of sequins, the little squares that look like this. You have a bag of them in your supplies. You're also going to need your fancy scissors. They're the ones that have got the pattern blades. I have the zigzag. And you're also going to need the stickers and your bottle of glue. And we're going to have the contact paper, but you can keep that to the side first because the first thing we need to do is decorate and make our bookmarks. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around the whole edge. I'm going to try to stick as close to the edge as I can because I want my bookmarks to be kind of wide. These scissors are not the best for cutting. I'm not going to lie to you. They're kind of difficult. So do the best you can and be patient. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. So there's side 3 coming up. And then the last side. If you want to get real, fancy, you can get your ruler out and draw some lines, but I'm just going to eyeball it, okay? And now I'm going to go straight up the middle. If I want to know where middle is, just so I make them even, kind of like things to be even, I fold it in half hot dog style, okay? And then I open back up, and that fold will let me pretty much see where, kind of hard to see the fold for all the folds, but it gives me an idea. And I go straight up. Okay, so now I have 2 bookmarks, or at least the starts. Now comes the fun part. I can use my stickers, but I'm going to use the tiles here. And I'm going to have a seat to this because it helps me to concentrate. I'm going to use some of these little paper tiles to spell out the word read. So I'm going to take my bottle of glue. I have half a bottle of glue still. And I'm going to write the word read. R-E-A-D. So it's hard to tell, it's hard to see it, but I used a thin bead of glue to write a word. Now you can write your name, you could write I love you, and then I'm going to take my tiles and I'm going to press them down so that they cover the glue and make the word stand out for me. When you're using the tiles, make sure you remember to check which side you're using because some of them are two-sided. You may want the orange, or you may want the blue, or you may want the green, or you may want the red. They have contrasting colors. And you're going to need to press them down so that they really stick. Your hands are going to get sticky. That's okay. It's messy camp. I'm missing a little glue here. There. If your hands get too sticky, you can always stop, go wash your hands, and come back. Also, when you're doing yours, make sure, you might find that your letters are looking a little squished. You can always take a paper towel, wipe the glue off, and start again. It's always allowed. Another good reason to make more than one, so you can have one to practice with and one to do. Oh, I'm so sticky. There. There's, oops, came up with my finger. There's my reed. I like it. So there's my reed. Now, we have to let it dry again. So I'm going to put this to the side. And if you want, you can go ahead and pause the video while you finish doing all of the rest of them. If you have more to do, that's great. This one I'm just going to leave plain because I really do like the marbling on the paper. So I've got 2 bookmarks ready to finish up. I'm going to clean up my mess, and then when we come back, we're going to be making the edible clay. Yay! See you in a minute. Welcome back, campers. Here we are, Wednesday, and now we are going to be doing edible clay. And we're going to be playing around with that, and by the time we're done with that and ready to clean up, it'll be time to go back and check on our bookmarks. So we're going to be starting with the Dream Whip. It's in a little package in the bag. And it's with the corn flour, okay? It's for edible clay, and it's marked as such. And you're gonna pour that into a bowl, all right? And then I want you to have on hand your mixer, your corn flour, which is also in a bag. You'll need a half a cup of cold water, and you will need your clay tools. Please, I washed them, but wash them yourselves before you start using them, just so to make sure that they're super clean, because you're gonna wanna eat this when you're done, okay? So, to make Dream Whip, you use, I'm not using milk, I'm using water because I don't want it to go bad as fast, all right? So this will be able to keep and play with for a couple of days if you don't eat it all to start with. So the Dream Whip is basically like Cool Whip, except that you got to make it. So this is where the beaters come in. So we're going to take our half a cup of cold water, and we're going to pour it in the bowl with the Dream Whip. Now I'm going to put my beaters together here. Always get them backwards. Have a parent help you with this part. Why won't you go in? There we go. All right. Okay, here we go. You just turn it on. Start slow until you get it all mixed in. Once you get it mixed in, I want you to turn that power up. Just so you know, this takes a really long time, like easily 8 minutes. So don't don't panic if it doesn't look like it's working, because it does. You just gotta keep beating. Okay, that took forever. All right, so now you're gonna see I got what basically looks like whipped cream. And now I'm gonna be taking the corn flour. Now, I gave you a little extra corn flour than what the recipe calls for, because I want you to have some to use on the table to keep you from sticking, because this kind of goes from a transition. So I want you to pour out enough corn flour to cover the top. You should be using about half of what you have in your bag, all right? And then you take a spoon and you start stirring it up into the whipped cream. Once you've done that, you're going to still have pretty much liquidy mush. So go ahead and then pour out about half again as much. So now you've got about a quarter of the bag left in the bag. And start stirring that in. And it should start to look like a kind of crumbly mess. Trying not to stick together anymore. If you don't have it looking like a dough that's kind of a crumbly mess, you need to add a little more corn flour. Some recipes call for cornstarch, but I think the corn flour tastes better. I'm going to add just a little bit more, because I do want it to be drier than wetter. Now, yep, it's sticking to my, it's sticking inside my beater here. So now I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to start mushing it in the bowl. And I know I have it the right consistency when it doesn't stick, which it's still sticking. So I'm going to add some more flour. If you use up all your flour and it's still sticking to your hands, you can always go and add some cornstarch, which most people have in their house. I'm still a little sticky. I didn't measure though. It's hard to tell sometimes. There we go. Now this will dry and you can paint it, so if you want to make yourself a little sculpture or take some cookie cutters and make ornaments, this will always work. You can also, we use Dream Whip because it was easier for me to get it to everybody, but you can use Cool Whip too. Don't use real whipped cream. It needs that shelf-stable thing, all the chemicals. Okay, so I have made my dough, and I have a roller, I have a couple of tools, I have a straw to make holes I've got a skewer to make pointy dots, and I can roll this out. Probably should be on my work mat. And I can cut into it. I can make faces out of it. Can make a nose. There's my little face. Kind of creepy. So yeah, now it's just time to play. You made yourself some edible clay. Oh, and don't forget, every now and then, take a little taste. Kind of reminds me of a cornbread pudding. Okay, so when you're done playing with this, you're going to store it. If you didn't make something that you want to keep and you want to keep this, you can put this in a Ziploc bag, make sure that all the air is out of it, and put it in the refrigerator and take it out later when you want to play again. After a while it will get crumbly enough that it won't be very pliable anymore. You can add a little bit of oil to it to smooth it all back out again. Okay, so I have to clean up my mess, and then I'm going to see you back, and we're going to finish up our bookmark. See you in a bit. Hi, campers. All right, we're about ready to wrap up Wednesday. And the last thing we have to do is finish up our bookmarks. So you're going to need your piece of rolled up contact paper. It looks white, but actually it's going to be clear when we're done. All right, and we're going to take our bookmark, make sure that it's dry. That's going to be critical. All right, now we want to do a front and back on our thing. So I gave you enough to do 2 bookmarks. So I'm going to cut up the middle of this roll. So you see I'm going right up the middle. There are lines to help you kind of gauge where you're going. And actually this is probably enough to do 4. So this is kind of hard to work with. I'd get help. I find that using like your bottle of glue or something heavy to hold it down one end so that you can work with the other. And then the trick is to get the stuff to peel off the paper. And this is where it's always difficult. I wish I could come up with a trick that made this part easier, but it just has not happened yet. Trying different corners sometimes helps. I think I got it. So the clear side is on top. Okay, so I got it. I'm peeling it back. I'm peeling it back, and I peel it back until I have enough to put my bookmark on. Okay, so I take my bookmark and I lay it on the sticky, and then I rub it down. I want to rub it as hard as I can so that it gets in contact with as much of the paper as possible. Okay? Now I'm going to keep peeling, keep peeling, keep peeling until I have enough again, and then I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to start rubbing it again. And now I've rubbed a spot where the two have come together. I'm going to take my regular scissors and I'm going to go straight up the side. leave a little bit of contact paper past your bookmark. That will create a seal. And then I'm gonna rub it hard, 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 hard. Get that really pressed down, especially the edges where it's sealing up. Okay, I want those seals. I'm gonna rub it, rub it, rub it, rub it, rub it, rub it. Now it doesn't matter because it's nice and strong. You can just press on it super, super hard. I've got some edges here I need to trim so that it's just touching the ziggy zags of my design. Now it's super strong, super safe. I can pretty much do anything, include drop it in water, and it'll be just fine, although you don't want to do that because it's your bookmark, maybe in a book. Okay, and the last thing we're going to be doing is putting a ribbon on it. Okay, so you have this tool in your bag, and it's a hole punch, and you're going to stick it pretty far down. Okay, I want to give myself a good inch right there in the middle. I'm going to punch a hole. And then I'm going to take the bit of ribbon. I'm going to be using a piece of paper because I didn't save myself a piece of ribbon. So I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to tie it in a knot. And we go in. Just like so. And there's your bookmark. I hope you had fun today. I sure did. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Well, I'll see you again tomorrow. See you Thursday. Bye. Hi campers. So I gave you guys, I'm going to show you a recipe that we did making edible clay. And I am just going to quickly show you what the other recipe looks like. It requires more expensive ingredients, so I didn't do that one, but it is Cool Whip frozen topping. Put it into this recipe makes a much smoother dough. It also tastes better. So if you're into the edible part of this, this is a half a box of cornstarch. So that's 8 ounces. All right, just so that you know, my whipped topping is still a little frozen, but I'm gonna sprinkle that in. And then I'm gonna keep mixing it in. Be careful, because cornstarch likes to fly everywhere. It's very puffy. So you want to kind of mash it down as you're going and stir it in. Put the rest of the bag in there. And be very careful with my stirring. You might think, oh, it's too much cornstarch. Don't give up. Keep stirring, keep pressing it and folding it in. You want it to be a crumbly bit. About halfway through this, you can add your food coloring. And I'll send a bit of this home with you guys so that you can see the consistency of it. Hopefully it won't be too dried out by the time you get to it. I'll mark it as play with now so that it'll be as fresh as possible. Okay, now I'm going to reach my hand in because it's messy art. I'm going to press the dough with my fingers. Yeah, this already feels like so much nicer than the corn meal or corn flour. And I know that the consistency of cornstarch will make a smoother clay. And as bad as Cool Whip is for you, I'm pretty sure that whip topping is, ooh. It's really cold. And there you have it, edible clay. So that's recipe number 2. If you'd like to try this one, you need to go get those ingredients and mix them together. Oh, I forgot the last thing. You need to put a little bit of oil. I'm not going to put the food coloring in it so that the piece that you get to play with at home, you can use your own food coloring and dye it your favorite color. Now I don't have my measuring things, but it's 2 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna eyeball 2 tablespoons. 2. And just keep mixing that all in together. The more you knead it, the better it'll be. If you find that it's still too sticky, you can always add more cornstarch. And that's the alternative recipe. Okay? So there you go. Now you have both. And as you can see, it's very messy. Bye.